People typically don't aspire to be seen as cowards. We prefer to hold our ground, cling to what we possess, and endure until circumstances improve. For instance, we resist being labeled as quitters, so we persist in our jobs, even when the workplace is toxic. Similarly, we maintain connections with bad friends and stay in harmful relationships, despite numerous attempts to change their behavior. Yet there are moments when we must reflect on whether the situations we find ourselves in are truly worth preserving. Sometimes the wisest choice is to walk away and genuinely mean it. Walking away can be liberating, although it is often perceived as surrender or failure. But how do we determine when it's time to walk away? This decision, though it may seem straightforward, is in fact quite intricate, influenced by our fears and attachments. At its core, it involves posing a crucial question. Is this situation beneficial for me, or is it time to move on? While this question is simple, finding the answer can be incredibly challenging for many. This video delves into the concept of walking away, drawing on both philosophical principles and economic theories, offering insights to help us discern when to stay and when to depart. Some view the act of walking away as a sign of weakness. Ironically, those who hold this view are often the ones who benefit from our staying put. Why is this the case? It's because walking away is frequently the only move that strips them of their power over us. Walking away is, in fact, a demonstration of strength. It indicates our ability to flourish without the other party's contributions. Consequently, walking away becomes a powerful negotiating tactic. By doing so, we assert our independence from the outcome, thereby reinforcing our stance. Despite this, many struggle with the act of walking away. We find it difficult to relinquish what we leave behind. So why is this the case? One reason is attachment. We fear walking away because we are attached to what we intend to leave behind. This attachment can extend even to things not yet in our possession. For instance, consider the desire for a specific car. We've admired it online for months, discussed it with friends and spouses, and grown increasingly fond of the idea of owning it. We've contemplated purchasing it daily. Thus, even before acquiring it, we formed an attachment to that car. When we're attached, whether to a future vision, something in the present, or memories of the past, letting go becomes challenging. Walking away from what we are attached to is difficult. This mechanism applies to objects, people, animals, ideas, almost anything we become fond of. Through these attachments, these things gain power over us. Consequently, those who provide us with these things can exploit this power. For instance, if a car salesman knows you're eager to own the car he's selling, he understands his strong negotiating position. Because of your attachment to the idea of having this car, he expects you'll find it difficult to walk away from a bad deal and might even overlook its defects. Attachment also complicates walking away from toxic relationships. When a friend, business partner, or spouse mistreats us, our deep attachment to these individuals or to what they provide makes it challenging to leave. Walking away means losing the pain, but also losing someone we are deeply entangled with. We escape something we despise, but also lose something we desire. Furthermore, these individuals might shame or guilt trip us for leaving, making it even harder to walk out that door. Another significant hurdle in walking away is the fear of the unknown. We dread what might happen if we abandon a familiar situation. What lies on the other side? Will it be better or worse? We might loathe our jobs, but what anxieties await us if we leave? We might be trapped in a toxic marriage and wish to escape, but won't our worlds fall apart if we do? The uncertainty of the future can be so daunting that it prevents us from taking that leap of faith. We are stepping away from the known into the unknown, from the familiar and foreseeable into the dark and unpredictable. So how do we decide when it's time to walk away? Determining whether walking away is the best option is largely subjective. It's a complex decision influenced by numerous factors. So again, how do we decide when to walk away? Stoic philosopher Epictetus offers a simple yet profound simile that can aid in making this decision. I've mentioned this simile before, but let's revisit it. Imagine there's a fire in a house producing smoke. As long as the smoke is moderate and there's enough ventilation to let it escape, it's fine to stay. But if the amount of smoke becomes excessive and harmful, it's probably best to leave the house. This metaphor powerfully illustrates when it's time to walk away from situations that harm us. However, it remains somewhat vague in practice. What constitutes too much smoke? In some cases, the harmful effects are evident, such as in instances of physical abuse. But often, the complexity of situations makes it challenging to decide whether to walk away. The smoke, therefore, often envelops us subtly and can even paradoxically blind us to its own presence. We can't see the smoke because of the smoke itself. So how do we identify this tangible concept of smoke that Epictetus described? Let's step away from philosophy for a moment and explore some concepts from economics to expand on Epictetus's analogy and aid our decision-making process in these smoky situations. The first concept is cost-benefit analysis. Have you ever listed the pros and cons of staying in a particular situation, whether it's a job, a relationship, or a living environment? If so, you've engaged in this economic tool. The benefits may include the reasons why we entered the situation initially, or what we hope to gain by staying in it. Take Epictetus's house, for example. It provides shelter and storage, the surrounding neighborhood may be pleasant, and the location convenient. Over time, the house may gain sentimental value, holding memories and familiarity. It becomes a place to call home. On the other hand, the costs involve the harmful effects of the smoke: discomfort, lack of sight, health risks, and psychological issues arising from the constant disturbance. When the scales tip towards the costs, meaning that the costs outweigh the benefits, we could argue that there's too much smoke in the house. Therefore, the amount of smoke in the house is relative, as it correlates to the benefits the house provides. Similarly, we can use cost-benefit analysis to assess relationships, jobs, and personal endeavors to determine if they have become too smoky, and thus, if it's time to walk away. The second concept is the sunk cost fallacy. Often, we remain in the smoky house even when it's evident that we shouldn't. The costs clearly outweigh the benefits and have been for a long time. So why do we stay? The sunk cost fallacy suggests that people remain in such situations because of what they've already invested. These investments could be time, effort, emotional dedication, or resources poured into something that now harms us more than it benefits us. An excellent example of this is marriage. People often invest a great deal in their marriages. Consider just the years of life dedicated to a spouse. When the marriage deteriorates and becomes irreparable, it may still be difficult to leave without feeling like something irreplaceable has been lost. This is the sunk cost fallacy at play. It's the misconception that we should continue on a detrimental path simply because we've already committed so much to it. However, our past investments don't generate the yields we hope for. They're sunk. We're unlikely to recover them by staying in the smoke. Acknowledging the sunk cost fallacy can help us make decisions based on the present and future, without our judgment being clouded by attachment to futile past investments. The next concept is opportunity cost. Let's face it, every moment we spend coughing in a house full of smoke is a moment not spent in fresher air. Every moment we endure a broken marriage, a toxic workspace, or a dirty hotel full of cockroaches, rats, and bad service is a moment we could be enjoying greener pastures. Opportunity cost means that choosing one option over another automatically entails missing out on potential alternatives. Staying in a harmful situation comes with a significant cost. Not only the harm itself, but also the benefits we miss out on. Perhaps there's a house next door with clean air, decent ventilation, and air conditioning. Maybe there's an opportunity for new experiences, new relationships, and personal growth outside these suffocating walls. By not walking away, we sacrifice these potential benefits. Acknowledging the opportunity cost helps us consider the paths we could take if we leave the smoke behind. Instead of only asking ourselves about the risks of walking away, we should also ask, what are the risks of not walking away? What are the dangers of remaining in the smoking house, aside from the possibility of suffocation? Before we move on, it's important to acknowledge that the concepts we've just explored heavily rely on logic and reason, which may not align perfectly with the emotional complexity of humans. This doesn't mean these concepts aren't helpful, but it's crucial to remember that humans are intricate beings driven by deeper, underlying forces. Our choices sometimes defy logic, propelled by desires or fears we might not fully understand ourselves. Now that's out of the way, let's return to rational mode. The concept of the opportunity cost warrants further exploration. In the context of walking away, it shifts focus from the immediate situation to the potential that lies beyond it, the possibilities we can embrace after cutting our losses. It reminds us that when we walk away from something, we're also walking towards something. Leaving a situation doesn't mean stepping into a great dark abyss of nothingness where our lives are over, even though it might feel that way before we take the step. There is something ahead, even if we aren't aware of it initially. Thus, walking away is often a leap of faith, trusting that when one door closes, another will open. Yes, we don't know where this new door leads, but should not knowing prevent us from entering? Didn't Alan Watts once say that no worthwhile life can be lived without risks? Embracing this mindset can help us move forward, confident that new opportunities await, even if their contours are not yet clear. However, when we consider the vastness of our planet and the multitude of people living on it, this leap of faith isn't much of a leap at all. The world is full of opportunities and resources. There are countless possibilities if we choose to seek them out. There are billions of houses with clean air on this planet. Why should we stay in one full of dirty, suffocating smoke? What we walk away from may seem like the whole universe, but in reality, it's just a tiny fraction of the grand scheme of things. So why the fear of loss? Why is there such reluctance to walk out that door into a world with so much more to offer? Most of us struggle to walk away from what we're attached to. It's hard to leave what has become such an intricate part of our lives, our identities. And as mentioned before, humans are complex. Sometimes we struggle to walk away without even knowing why. Understanding this reluctance requires acknowledging the emotional and psychological depth of our attachments. While logic and reason provide valuable tools for decision-making, they often fall short in capturing the full spectrum of human experience. By recognizing this, we can better navigate the challenging yet potentially rewarding process of walking away from situations that no longer serve us. To conclude this video, let's remind ourselves that we never walk away empty-handed. We carry the memories with us. We always learn from what we leave behind. Seeds we can sow in more fertile soil, building blocks for a new, better house that hopefully keeps the smoke at bay. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give us a like and a subscription as an encouragement for us to make more useful videos.